This is a bookkeeping video, specifically directed towards YouTubers. I'm not intending it to be comprehensive. I'm just going to skirt out a few ideas. Now, let's say you started a channel, and for some reason you're either lucky or skillful or a genius, or maybe all three, and your channel is doing really well and you're making some money. So what exactly do you do? You've got to start thinking about keeping records and maybe paying some tax. Well, the records side is what I'm going to focus on here, and tax accountancy is more complex. I can't deal with that in this short space. So now a lot of people like to just open a spreadsheet, maybe Excel, and keep their records in that way. It's called Book of Prime Entry, and essentially you might have, say, 10 columns, and then you might record each transaction, and typically if you use an Excel system, you try and keep it in a double entry fashion. So the first column will be the expense amount, and then say it's postage, then you record it in a separate column later as postage. Now, I'm sure there are detailed guides elsewhere on the internet to this, but that is one way. Doing it through Excel is not, however, a very good system. If you're not too large in financial terms, then it's far better to get involved in an established system. Now, for about maybe £10 roughly, you could buy what's called a Simplex D book, and that is designed to assist you in your record keeping. A Simplex D book is, I would say, much more sophisticated than an Excel system. Excel is more flexible, but when you're not an accountant, you're not a bookkeeper, you perhaps don't have financial training, but you have skills in other areas that allow you to produce the YouTube videos, well, it is better to go with an established system, and Simplex D is a very simple established system that you can go and buy the book, and then you can be up and running. Now, if you feel perhaps more confident, or you want a better system, well, there's precise software out there. One good example would be QuickBooks. They came to the UK relatively recently, and it's quite a good system. They have linkages to bank account systems, for example, and essentially, if you're ready for a more advanced system, but a system which requires more learning, then something like QuickBooks could be quite good for you. There are quite a lot of alternatives. Something like Sage is quite good as well. Again, they have a variety of sub-classifications within that. It's really, you either feel comfortable with a system which is pen and paper based, like Simplex D, or you feel comfortable with a computerized system, in which case either search on the internet or pop along to your local store and just see which you think suits you better. Some of the systems come with what's called an audit trail, which is essentially a way of recording every transaction and recording every change in a transaction, and some people will like the fact that that is there, and some people won't. And essentially, as the system becomes more evolved, you're more likely to have an audit trail. Now again, for some simpler record-keeping systems, if you merely needed to record a few transactions, or maybe say, let's say £20,000 your turnover might be, well then that requires very simple record keeping, and you might use a simple XD in that sort of situation, and you might simply have a box and keep your receipts in that box, and that might be all you need. But then once you start climbing up a long way beyond that, that's when computerized record keeping becomes very helpful. And however good you are, and however intelligent you are, and however well trained you are, unless you are financially trained, either, let's say, as a CFA or an accountant, you're going to struggle with the precise details of actually doing your accounts, doing your tax returns, and that's when you're going to need an actual accountant to help you. And when it comes to that sort of situation, when you're starting to go 50,000 plus, then you can save money, you can save expenses, and if you use something like a computerized system that's already built for you, then you can often link to your accountant. And in many occasions, you may not even actually need to visit the accountant. You can potentially upload your receipts, upload your expenses, and potentially your record of those transactions can go along with the actual pieces of paper which were electronically uploaded to your accountant, and then they could make the adjustments to your view, as it were, your record keeping, and that could be quite helpful. So if you are running a YouTube channel, or if you're running any business, the idea is that you choose a system that is essentially, if you're running a small business, a simple system is fine. If you're running a large business, you need a more complex system. That's the basic principle, and I should think that should be clear enough. Accountancy can get very complex, and I think I would stop at that. I've provided a general introductory video to accountancy, and this general sort of video discussion of some bookkeeping ideas. Beyond that, there are a large number of conceptual frameworks, terminology, and it's a process that if you started a successful YouTube channel, you'll learn that sort of terminology and the framework over time. I think that's all I'll cover in this video. Okay, thank you.